everyone, and welcome back to my writing channel. Today I have another outlining video for you guys. So of course this is my tips, my advice, my experience, and there are tons of other videos out there on the internet if you would prefer some other inputs from other writers. And yeah, I totally recommend that you take in all of the information about writing that you possibly can. So let's start. Today we are talking about subplots. And so the first thing I did was actually Google tips for writing subplots, just to get like a general direction you should be looking in for a general goal that you want to have when outlining your subplots for your book. According to Google, your main focus when outlining and writing subplots should be focusing on integrating them with the main plot, deepening character development, and enhancing themes. Subplots should add complexity and nuance, creating a more satisfying and compelling narrative that can also foreshadow future events, reveal character backstories, and build tension. I agree with that statement, but we are going to dive in a little deeper than that, and I have 4 main categories or tips that I wanted to talk about to focus on when outlining your novels. So the first one is that subplots should be somehow related and connected to the main plot, not just a set of totally random events happening for no reason. When you think of all the books that you've read that have an immense amount of action or things going on in the plot, think about how it captures your interest and how they all tie into the same main plot and how it matters to the main character. If you have ever lost interest when reading a book or watching a movie in some of the side plots, it is probably because they did not have it matter at all and they just had a bunch of random things happening that didn't have anything to do with the main plot whatsoever or the main conflict whatsoever. So really make sure that it actually ties together with your overall themes and your overall conflict. Please always have it relate back to the main plot and how it affects the main character as they go along their journey. My tip is to have a central conflict that brings together all of the subplots with the main plot. Point number 2 is that your subplots should raise the stakes for your main character. That one's pretty self-explanatory, I think. As I'm outlining EOS Secret for what feels like the 100th time, but as I'm doing that currently, I have discovered that every single one of my subplots actually really raises the stakes for the main character and really like puts some serious pressure on her to make certain decisions. And honestly, there's something that like every single subplot's point really makes her squirm because it's keeping her like uncomfortable and it's raising the stakes of what could happen if she makes this choice. And it's like she can't catch a break no matter what, because there's this plot's coming at her from this side and this plot's coming at her from this side. So my tip is to keep it interesting is obviously this goes kind of hand in hand with making it matter to the character and their internal conflict, but really raising the stakes will also keep the intrigue. Number 3, so just like the main character, your subplots should be based off of or incorporate the internal conflicts of your side characters. Because chances are your subplots are going to involve side characters, and this is why you need to make sure that your side characters really have internal conflict laid out, because if they don't, why are we caring about this plot that's happening to the side characters? And not only do the side characters need internal conflict, but you need to show why the side character matters to the main character. So if your side character does not have internal conflict, go outline it. And then number 4 is just a set of tips that I have for the pacing of your subplots. This is just personally how I did this. So on my outline, so I did 2 outlines. I usually do first the 3-act story structure outline. I outline all of those plot points. Then I make a chapter by chapter outline, and I insert each of those plot points spread out throughout the story, throughout the chapters as I deem necessary. And then I go through after those plot points are laid out. And obviously you can move them around as you see fit. But what I like to do is fill in any of the gaps between chapters or within chapters to make sure there's enough happening in each chapter, so that if there's like slow parts, instead of just having random stuff start happening, which is what I found myself doing when writing, you have the subplots points. So you should probably, if you find it helpful, you can outline the plot points for each subplot on a separate document or paper, and then you can lay those out between the main plot points so that the story progresses with a nice pacing and there's no slow dragging points with random events happening. Not only does this make it interesting to read, it also makes it more enjoyable to write, because there's always something happening that is like really juicy and like raising the stakes or just plain interesting. Something always needs to be taking place that matters. And that was just a really quick video for how to outline subplots, and I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye.